They call them samurai, warriors of honor, masters of the sword. The very word conjures images of cherry blossoms, stoic duels, and an unwavering code of loyalty. But what if I told you that this elegant image is a carefully crafted myth, that the era that forged the samurai legend wasn't noble poetry, but a century-long storm of murder, sieges, and scorched earth? Welcome to the real Sengoku period, the age of warring states. Cut to fast-paced, gritty visuals, maps of Japan fracturing, animated armies clashing, castles burning. From the mid-15th century, Japan shattered, the central government collapsed, and the country was plunged into a free-for-all. Powerful regional lords, the daimyo, raised massive private armies and carved out territories with blade and, surprisingly, bullet. This wasn't about honorable duels in quiet courtyards. This was total war. Villages were burned as rival banners marched across the land. The reality was massed infantry, cunning tactics, and wholesale slaughter. Show an image of an arquebus, a primitive firearm, and then everything changed. The arrival of the Portuguese arquebus, or Nagashino, rewrote the rules of battle. At the Battle of Nagashino in 1575, the legendary warlord Oda Nobunaga did something revolutionary. He armed thousands of his ashigaru, or foot soldiers, with guns and placed them behind wooden palisades. When the famed Takeda cavalry, considered the most powerful in Japan, charged, they weren't met with swords, but with disciplined, rolling volleys of gunfire. The iconic samurai charge was mowed down. The age of aristocratic valor was ending. The age of organization, industry, and firepower had begun. Show a portrait of Oda Nobunaga, with a dark, intense visual style. If one man embodied the brutal efficiency of this new era, it was Oda Nobunaga himself. A brilliant strategist, he was also utterly ruthless. To consolidate his power, he smashed any opposition, including the powerful Buddhist warrior monks. In 1571, he ordered the complete annihilation of the temple fortress complex on Mount Hiei. His troops surrounded the mountain and burned everything to the ground, slaughtering thousands of monks, civilians, women, and children. The message was terrifyingly clear. No one, not even the gods, was safe from his ambition. The iron hand of unification was soaked in blood. Transition to visuals of Toyotomi Hideyoshi and maps showing invasions of Korea. Nobunaga's successor, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, completed the unification of Japan, but his ambition didn't stop at the shoreline. In 1592 and again in 1597, he launched two massive invasions of Korea. The Amjin War became a continental disaster. The Japanese armies engaged in widespread looting, massacres of civilians, and took thousands of Korean artisans and scholars back to Japan as captives. Entire towns were burned, and the infamous practice of collecting noses and ears as trophies of war left a scar on Korean history that lasts to this day. This brutal campaign is a dark chapter often left out of the romantic samurai narrative. Show dramatic imagery of the Siege of Osaka Castle. The final bloody act of this era was the Siege of Osaka. After Hideyoshi's death, power shifted to Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the dynasty that would rule Japan for the next 250 years. But Hideyoshi's heir remained a threat. In 1614, Ieyasu laid siege to Osaka Castle, a supposedly impregnable fortress. After a temporary truce, he returned the next year and completely annihilated the Toyotomi clan. The castle was razed, and tens of thousands of defenders and their families were killed. Many samurai, facing defeat, chose ritual suicide, or seppuku, rather than surrender a grim, final act of control in a world defined by overwhelming force. Returned to a clean, modern shot of a katana in a museum display. So where does the noble code of Bushido, the way of the warrior, fit into all this? Here's the twist. Much of it was written, asterisk after asterisk, the wars were over. During the long peace of the Tokugawa shogunate, it was a way to romanticize a brutal past, to polish deeds of violence into stories of honor, and to give a new social role to a warrior class that no longer had wars to fight. The same sword that was a symbol of status could be used to defend a lord, or cut down a peasant who failed to show respect. The legacy of the samurai is a paradox. Modern Japan's celebrated culture, its temples, tea ceremonies, and art grew from soil fertilized by centuries of war. Unification brought stability, but it was built on a foundation of massacre and political purges. The samurai shadow is long, beautiful in memory, but brutal in reality. So the next time you see the gleam of a katana on screen, remember the true cost of that era. It wasn't paid in glorious duels, but in lines of smoke, in mass graves beneath castles, and in entire nations remade by the sword. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into the dark side of history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.